In this world, you either dominate or you are dominated. There is no middle ground. Are you a sheep or a wolf? I'm asking you point blank because your answer determines everything. Your relationships, your career, your very sense of self-worth. It all hinges on this fundamental question. Forget the politically correct garbage you've been fed your entire life. The soothing lies about equality and shared power. We're diving deep into the brutal, unvarnished truth about power dynamics, the primal forces that govern human interaction, whether you acknowledge them or not. We will be exploring the concept of the alpha male, but not in the superficial, chest-thumping way you see in pop culture. We're talking about a deep, internal understanding of power, of your power, an understanding of hierarchical structures, how to ascend to an apex position. It is not just some frat boy fantasy. This is about understanding the unspoken rules of the game, the subtle cues and signals that dictate who leads and who follows, who commands respect and who begs for scraps. It's about recognizing that life, at its core, is a constant negotiation for status, influence, and control. And if you're not actively negotiating, you're passively losing. I'm going to promise you something right now. What I'm about to reveal is controversial. It will challenge your deeply held beliefs. It might even offend your sensibilities. Good, because comfort is the enemy of growth. I will expose the dark secrets of acquiring, wielding, and maintaining social, professional, and romantic dominance. These are the strategies that the truly powerful use, but rarely admit to. They're not always pretty. They're certainly not fair in the conventional sense, but they are damn effective. These aren't theoretical musings. These are battle-tested tactics, forged in the crucible of real-world interactions. Prepare to have your illusions shattered, your assumptions questioned, and your worldview irrevocably altered. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And once you understand the rules of the game, you can finally start playing to win. Are you ready to stop being a pawn and become a king? Are you ready to unlock the raw, primal power that lies dormant within you? Prepare yourself, because we are delving in. The illusion of equality. Why fairness is a lie. Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you will shatter the comfortable illusions you've been fed your entire life. Modern society, with its relentless push for equality in relationships, is peddling a dangerous lie, a venomous deception that emasculates men and breeds resentment like a plague in a stagnant pond. They scream about fairness and equal partnership, but these are just pretty words masking a brutal truth. All interactions, especially romantic relationships, are inherently imbalanced, a constant dance of power and control. Think about it. Have you ever truly seen perfect equality? No. It's a phantom, a unicorn, a fairy tale whispered to keep men docile and compliant. This so-called equality often translates to men suppressing their natural instincts, their drive to lead, to protect, to dominate. It forces them to walk on eggshells, to constantly apologize for their very existence, to become shadows of their true potential. And what does this lead to? A simmering, unspoken resentment, a feeling of being trapped, of being less than a man. Women understand this, subconsciously test men's dominance. It's not some malicious plot hatched in a secret cabal. It's woven into their very DNA, a biological imperative honed over millennia of evolution. She needs to know, deep down, that you are strong enough to protect her, to provide for her, to lead her. These tests can manifest in countless ways. Perhaps she'll challenge your decisions, seemingly for no reason. Maybe she'll push your boundaries, testing how far she can go before you push back. She might even withhold affection or intimacy, forcing you to prove your worthiness. Think of it like this: a lioness doesn't choose the nicest lion. She chooses the strongest, the one who can defend the pride and ensure the survival of her cubs. This primal instinct hasn't vanished. It's merely been buried beneath layers of societal conditioning. The woman might not even be aware she's doing it, but the testing is always there, a constant undercurrent in the relationship. And what happens when a man fails these tests? He loses her respect. He becomes beta, the provider, the doormat, the one she tolerates, but doesn't truly desire. He becomes, essentially, a resource, not a partner. This brings us to the crucial concept of frame control. The frame is the underlying context, the unspoken rules of engagement in any interaction. It's the reality that you project and enforce. He who controls the frame controls the interaction, controls the relationship, controls the life. If you allow a woman or anyone, for that matter, to dictate the frame, you've already lost. You're reacting to her reality, playing by her rules, dancing to her tune. Imagine a scenario. She accuses you of being insensitive. A weak man, trapped in the equality illusion, will immediately apologize, grovel, try to justify himself. He's lost the frame. A strong man, a man who understands frame control, might respond with a calm, unwavering, interesting perspective. Tell me more. He hasn't conceded. He's subtly shifted the frame, making her explain herself, putting her on the defensive. Or even more powerfully, he might simply laugh, completely dismissing the accusation as absurd. He is signaling that her attempt to control the frame has failed. This is not about being a jerk or being disrespectful. It's about understanding the underlying power dynamics and refusing to be manipulated. It's about establishing yourself as the leader, the authority, the one in control. It's about radiating unwavering confidence, the kind of confidence that comes from knowing your own worth and refusing to let anyone else diminish it. Mastering frame control is the first, and perhaps most crucial, step towards reclaiming your power and building the relationships and the life you truly desire. Forget fairness. Embrace the reality of power. Only then can you truly be free. Only a fool believes that true, utter, absolute 50-50 equality exists, or even is a goal to strive for. It's a chain, a shackle, a lie. Mastering the frame. Practical techniques for asserting dominance. Forget the weak, apologetic posture the world tries to force on you. We're talking about seizing control, not through brute force, but through the subtle, yet immensely powerful art of frame control. Remember, it's not about being a bully. It's about projecting unwavering confidence and setting boundaries so ironclad that others instinctively yield. It's about becoming the unshakable mountain in the face of a storm. Everyday domination. Examples in action: the nagging partner. Let's say your partner is constantly harping on you about something trivial: the dishes, taking out the trash, some perceived slight. The weak man gets defensive, argues, or worse, grovels. The man mastering the frame listens without truly absorbing the negativity, nods slowly, and then says something like, "You know, you're absolutely right. I am incredibly neglectful. In fact, I'm probably the most inconsiderate man on the planet. I should probably just move out and live in a cave, foraging for berries. Would that make you happy?" This is agree and amplify, taken to its extreme. It's disarming. It's humorous if delivered correctly. It subtly mocks the nagging, turning her own complaints into an absurdity. She'll likely back down, realizing the ridiculousness of her escalating demands. The workplace conflict. A colleague is trying to undermine you, perhaps taking credit for your work or challenging your authority in a meeting. The beta male avoids confrontation or offers weak protests. The frame-controlling man maintains unwavering eye contact, a slight smirk playing on his lips. He lets the colleague finish their tirade, then calmly and deliberately says, "That's an interesting perspective. Tell me more." He then uses targeted questions to expose the flaws in their logic, dismantling their argument piece by piece, without raising his voice or becoming visibly agitated. He might even lean back in his chair, steepling his fingers, projecting an aura of complete control and amusement. The key is to make them feel like they're the one being unreasonable, the one losing control. The social challenge. Imagine someone is trying to put you down in a social setting, perhaps making a sarcastic remark about your job or your appearance. The insecure man laughs nervously or tries to defend himself. The man in control of the frame simply raises an eyebrow, pauses for a beat, and says something like, "Is that so?" or "Fascinating." The lack of reaction is a powerful weapon. It signals that their attempt to gain social status at your expense has utterly failed. The uncomfortable silence that follows is their problem, not yours. The architecture of dominance, body language, tone, and eye contact, your physical presence, is your first line of defense. Stand tall, shoulders back, chest out. Occupy space. Don't fidget or shuffle your feet. These are subconscious signals of weakness. Eye contact. This is crucial. Unwavering eye contact without staring aggressively projects confidence and dominance. It's a silent challenge. If they break eye contact first, they've subconsciously acknowledged your superior status. Don't be afraid to hold their gaze, even if it makes them uncomfortable. This is a silent battle, and you intend to win. Tone of voice. Speak slowly, deliberately, and with a lower pitch. Avoid the high-pitched, rapid-fire delivery of someone who's nervous or unsure of themselves. Pause between sentences. Let your words hang in the air. This forces others to listen attentively. It also gives you time to think and maintain control of the conversation. Silence is your ally. Don't be afraid of silence. In fact, embrace it. When someone challenges you, let them finish. Then, remain silent for a few seconds. This creates a void, a vacuum of expectation. Most people will become uncomfortable and start to babble, revealing their insecurities and weakening their position. Use this to your advantage. Agree and amplify. The judo of verbal combat. This is a powerful technique for deflecting challenges and maintaining frame control. Instead of directly contradicting someone, you agree with their statement, but then you amplify it to such an absurd degree that it becomes ridiculous. It's a form of verbal judo, using their own momentum against them. It is all about using their own force, their ridiculous attack, their attempts to control, and sending this force, redirected, straight back at them, magnified 1,000 times. The mental image is not just deflecting, but catapulting their weak attack back with the force of a nuclear explosion. For example, challenge, you're always late. Agree and amplify, you're absolutely right. I'm pathologically incapable of being on time. In fact, I'm planning to be late for my own funeral. I've already instructed the undertaker to delay the service by at least an hour. It's going to be incredibly inconvenient for everyone, but I simply can't help myself. Challenge, you never listen to me. Agree and amplify, you are 100% correct. I'm the worst listener in human history. My ears are purely decorative. I'm basically a brick wall with a handsome face. You should probably just talk to the wall. It'll be more receptive. The key is to deliver this with a straight face, or perhaps a slight smirk. The goal is to make them question their own sanity, to realize that they're being unreasonable. It's a subtle but devastatingly effective way to maintain control of the frame and ultimately the interaction, the situation, the life. This isn't about being a jerk. It's about establishing yourself as a man who won't be pushed around, a man who dictates his own reality. It's about radiating an aura of unshakable self-belief that compels others to respect and even fear your boundaries. This is the power of the frame. Master it, and you master your world. The power of no, reclaiming your time and energy. Are you a doormat, a people pleaser, constantly bending over backward to accommodate everyone else's whims and desires, while your own dreams wither and die? Stop it. Constantly saying yes when you mean no is not a virtue. It's a pathetic display of weakness, a self-inflicted wound that drains your energy and leaves you a hollow shell. Every yes you don't mean is a chip off your soul, a tiny piece of your self-respect sacrificed at the altar of other people's convenience. You're not being kind. You're being a coward, afraid to assert your boundaries, afraid to face the momentary discomfort of potential disapproval. Think about it. Every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you're saying no to something you do want to do. You're saying no to your goals, your ambitions, your passions. You're trading precious hours of your life, hours you can never get back, for what? A fleeting sense of validation. A pat on the head from someone who probably doesn't even appreciate your sacrifice. It's insane. It's self-sabotage on an epic scale. Your mission, your purpose, your race into tree that is paramount. Your mission is paramount. Everything else is secondary. Everything. Your wife's endless requests for you to run errands. Secondary. Your boss's unreasonable demands for overtime. Secondary. Your friend's constant need for emotional support. secondary. This isn't about being selfish. It's about recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot be a source of strength and support for others if you're constantly depleting your own reserves. You must fiercely guard your time and energy, like a dragon guarding its hoard, because that hoard is your life. So, how do you break free from this self-imposed prison of people-pleasing? How do you learn to say no without feeling like a terrible person? It's simpler than you think. First, understand this. You are not responsible for other people's feelings. Their reaction to your no is their problem, not yours. You are only responsible for communicating your boundaries clearly and respectfully. Here's the magic formula. Don't apologize. Don't justify. Just say no. That's it. No elaborate explanations. No groveling excuses. No pathetic attempts to soften the blow. A simple, firm, unwavering no. Practice it. Say it in the mirror until it feels natural. No, I won't be able to do that. No, that doesn't work for me. No, thank you. It's liberating. It's empowering. It's like lifting 1,000-pound weight off your shoulders. And if they persist, if they try to guilt you, manipulate you, or pressure you into changing your mind, that's when you unleash the ultimate weapon, walking away. If they don't respect your no, remove yourself from the equation entirely. Let them feel the sting of your absence. This is not about being dramatic or vindictive. It's about self-preservation. It's about sending a clear message. My time and energy are valuable. I will not be taken advantage of. Imagine a colleague constantly dumping their work on you. You've said no several times, but they keep pushing. Finally, you simply stand up, gather your things, and say, I'm not going to discuss this further, and walk away. Boom. Frame control established. Dominance asserted. They'll think twice before trying that again. Walking away is the ultimate display of power because it demonstrates that you are not dependent on their approval or validation. You are a free agent, a sovereign individual, and you will not be controlled. Remember the image of the lone wolf, self-sufficient and powerful. That is what the ability to walk away embodies. It shows you have options. It shows you have steel. And that, my friend, is terrifyingly attractive to those who seek to dominate. Master the power of no, and you master your life. Refuse and remain a slave. Weaponizing indifference, the art of strategic disengagement. Listen closely, because this is where most men fail. They become emotionally entangled, like flies trapped in a spider's web. Emotional investment is a leak in your power, a gaping wound that others, especially women, will instinctively exploit. The more you care, the more you need, the weaker you become. The more desperate you are, the more they pull away. It's a fundamental law of human dynamics, a cruel dance of power. Care less, detach yourself emotionally, and you instantly become infinitely more powerful. I'm talking about a godlike level of indifference. Think of it like this. Imagine two men negotiating a deal. One is desperate. He needs the deal to go through. His livelihood depends on it. He sweats, he stammers, he concedes on every point. The other man, he's leaning back, completely relaxed. He could walk away at any moment and not lose a wink of sleep. He states his terms, firm and unyielding. Who do you think has the power? Who do you think gets the better deal? It is that stone-cold guy every single time. This principle, this weaponized indifference, applies to everything: relationships, business, even your internal state. It's the core of outcome independence. Don't be a slave to any specific outcome. Embrace the chaos, the uncertainty, the inherent randomness of life. A woman flakes on a date. So what? A business deal falls through. Next. Don't cling to anything. Don't need anything. This isn't about being a cold, emotionless robot. It's about recognizing that your emotional state is your responsibility and your weapon, not something to be dictated by external forces. Let's talk about women. The less you need a woman's validation, the more attractive you become to her. It's a perverse, almost paradoxical law of the universe, but it's undeniably true. The moment you put a woman on a pedestal, the moment you need her approval, you've lost. She senses your neediness, your desperation, and it repels her like a powerful magnet facing the wrong way. She might not consciously understand it, but her subconscious screams at her to flee from weakness. She's biologically programmed to seek strength, stability, and indifference is a potent display of both. Imagine a woman texting you incessantly, demanding your attention. You're busy, focused on your mission, your purpose. You respond briefly, hours later, with a nonchalant, busy. Later. What does she do? She texts more. She craves your attention, your validation, because you've denied it to her. You've demonstrated through your indifference that you have options, that you're not dependent on her. This drives her wild. It triggers her primal instincts, her desire to conquer the unavailable. Now, let's say a man is completely infatuated. He is available at any hour. He replies quickly, with walls of text, showering her with compliments and attention. He's practically begging for her approval. What happens in that case? She will get bored. She will take him for granted. She will lose respect and eventually attraction. He showed all his cards. He declared he's a pawn. The same dynamic applies in business negotiations. If you're desperate to close a deal, the other party will smell your fear and exploit it. They'll squeeze you for every last concession because they know you need it more than they do. But if you project an air of indifference, if you're genuinely willing to walk away, the power dynamic shifts dramatically. Suddenly, they are the ones chasing you. They're the ones offering concessions because they fear losing the opportunity to work with you. How do you cultivate this mindset of abundance, this weaponized indifference? It's a two-pronged attack. First, you must have a life outside of any one relationship or deal. You need a purpose, a mission, something that drives you, something that makes you genuinely excited to wake up in the morning. This could be your career, your fitness goals, a creative project, anything that gives your life meaning and direction. When you have a strong purpose, you're less likely to become fixated on any single outcome. Second, develop actual abundance. This isn't about faking it. It's about expanding your options. Talk to more women. Explore more business opportunities. Network with more people. The more options you have, the less you'll need any single one, and the more indifferent you'll naturally become. This isn't about being a jerk. It's about recognizing that your emotional energy is a valuable resource. Don't squander it on things that don't serve you. Don't let others dictate your emotional state. Become the master of your inner world, and you'll become the master of your external reality. Weaponize your indifference and watch your power soar. Remember, the less you need, the more you get. It's the ultimate paradox of power, and it's yours to command. Embracing your toxic masculinity. Unleashing your inner beast responsibly. Let's cut through the suffocating fog of politically correct nonsense, shall we? The term toxic masculinity, it's a weapon, a shackle forged by those who fear the raw, primal power that resides within every man. They whisper about toxic masculinity as if it's some kind of disease, a plague to be eradicated. Tell you what they call toxic is often nothing more than unadulterated male power, the very essence of what it means to be a man in a world that constantly tries to neuter you. Think about it. Assertiveness, labeled aggressive. Competitiveness, deemed unhealthy. A willingness to take risks, to fight for what you believe in, dismissed as reckless. These are not flaws. They are the cornerstones of achievement, the very traits that have driven men to build civilizations, conquer frontiers, and protect their own. The world rewards the bold, the daring, the ones who aren't afraid to seize what they desire. It punishes the meek, the submissive, the ones who apologize for their very existence. Imagine a lion, the apex predator, the king of the jungle, being told that his roar is too loud, his claws too sharp, his hunting instincts too aggressive. Would he cower? Would he apologize for his nature? Absolutely not. He would embrace it. He would revel in it. Because that is what makes him powerful. That is what makes him survive. You, my friend, are not so different. You have that same fire within you, that same primal drive. But society, in its infinite wisdom, has tried to extinguish it, to convince you that it's something to be ashamed of. They want you docile, compliant, a sheep in a world teeming with wolves. They want you to apologize for your strength, for your ambition, for your very maleness. But here's the crucial distinction, and listen closely, because this is where the responsibly part comes in. Uncontrolled aggression, blind rage, that is self-destructive. That's the beast untamed, a force that will consume you and everything around you. We're not talking about becoming a mindless brute. We're talking about channeling that energy, refining it, hunting it into a weapon of precision. Think of a skilled swordsman. He doesn't wildly flail his blade. He uses it with control, with strategy, with devastating effectiveness. This is where discipline comes in. This is where the responsibility comes in. This is where you transform from a raging bull into a calculated warrior. How do you achieve this transformation? First, physical fitness. A strong body houses a strong mind. It's not just about aesthetics. It's about cultivating the discipline, the resilience, the sheer willpower that comes from pushing your physical limits. Hit the gym, lift weights, run, train in martial arts. Feel the power surge through you as you conquer your own physical weaknesses. A strong body projects an aura of power, an unspoken message that you are not to be trifled with. Second, self-defense training. This isn't about starting fights. It's about being prepared for them, knowing that you can defend yourself, that you can protect your loved ones, instills a deep sense of confidence, a quiet certainty that radiates outward. It's about walking through the world knowing that you are not prey, that you are a force to be reckoned with. Prepare for battle, even if that battle never comes. The very act of preparation transforms you, hardens you, makes you ready. Embrace the so-called toxic traits. Be assertive, be competitive, be willing to take risks, but do it with intelligence, with strategy, with control. Unleash your inner beast, but keep it on a leash, ready to be unleashed with calculated precision when the situation demands it. This isn't about being a bully. It's about being a protector, a provider, a leader. It's about reclaiming your inherent power, your birthright as a man. The world may try to shame you for it, but deep down, they will respect you for it. And more importantly, you will respect yourself. We've reached the precipice, the point of no return. I've laid bare the brutal truth, stripped away the comforting lies, and handed you the weapons. Remember the core message, the fundamental law of existence, etched in the very fabric of reality: dominate or be dominated. There is no third option. The choice, stark and unforgiving, is yours and yours alone. Are you going to cower in the shadows, a whimpering sheep begging for scraps of affection and approval? Or are you going to rise, a magnificent wolf, and claim what is rightfully yours? This isn't some feel-good, self-help seminar. This isn't a theoretical exercise to be pondered and debated. This is a blueprint for action, a meticulously crafted battle plan for taking absolute control of your life, your relationships, and your destiny. Every technique, every strategy, every principle I've revealed is a tool, a weapon to be wielded with precision and power. Frame control, the power of no, weaponizing indifference, embracing your toxic harnessing, I should say, your inherent masculine drive. These are not abstract concepts. They are the keys to unlocking a life of unparalleled power and fulfillment. So, what are you waiting for? A written invitation, a personal guarantee. There are no guarantees in this life, only opportunities. And this, right here, right now, is your opportunity to seize control. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready today. Begin implementing these strategies immediately. Practice controlling the frame in every interaction. Start saying no to the things that drain your energy and disrespect your time. Cultivate that crucial indifference, that detachment from outcome that makes you untouchable. Reconnect with that primal, assertive energy that society has tried so desperately to suppress. Start with the small things, the way you answer the phone, the way you walk into a room, the way you look someone in the eye. Every interaction is a test, a chance to assert your dominance, to subtly shape the world to your will. Don't be afraid to be challenged. Embrace the conflict, for it is in the crucible of conflict that strength is forged. And most importantly, remember that women crave to be safe, and safety means to be with strong men. That is the brutal biological truth. It is written in their DNA. It is ineluctable. Become the master of your own destiny. Don't be a passenger in your own life, drifting aimlessly at the mercy of others. Take the wheel, chart your course, and drive relentlessly towards your goals. Remember, weakness is a sin. Vulnerability is a liability. Indecision is a death sentence. Embrace the ruthless, unforgiving, yet ultimately rewarding path of the alpha. The world doesn't reward mediocrity. It crushes it. It bows only to strength, to dominance, to unwavering will. The world, make no mistake, belongs to the wolves. Will you join the pack, howl at the moon, and claim your rightful place at the top of the hierarchy? Or will you be devoured, left as carrion for the vultures, a forgotten footnote in the annals of the weak? The choice is yours. Choose wisely.